What up, what up, what up, what up, everybody?
What's going on, people?
It's your girl, Karma Custom.
And yours truly, Vila Funk.
And you are tuned in for another episode of What's the Word? Have You Heard? Spotify podcast. And we have a very, very special guest with us today. She is the mother of the House of Jones. She is the host and producer of Vanity Hour and cast of Cabaret Brunch. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vanity Jones.
Yeah.
Vanity, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. How are you
Okay,
doing?
good. Thank you so much for having me. I've been excited and ready for those questions. I feel like I'm taking a test that I'm going to need to stand on to for. No, they were amazing questions, so I can't wait. But thank you so much. This podcast is amazing, and I can't wait to get into it.
Oh, yeah, we can't wait to dive into your life, your career. There's so much we want to discuss. But first and foremost, for those that do not know, can you explain drag culture to our listeners and our viewers?
So my take on drag culture is it's a wide range. It can be done. My stance is that it can be done by anyone, whomever, whatever you identify as. Um, but originally done as an art form. You know, both men and women were expressing it very early on, and it's just an art form to express music, fashion, like all those things, culminating into one as it could be a character. Uh, say from like a TV show or a movie or an impersonation, you see a lot of that, like commonly with drag, but also just kind of like looks and ideas and concepts, performances that you think would go great with a certain setting of music. It's definitely, you can do, say, a Janet Jackson song, but your idea and your concept, your outfit may be completely different. So it can also be that so many different directions. So no limits really.
Yeah, yeah. Can
Yes.
you tell us about how you got your start in drag?
Well, funny enough is I actually don't have the typical like, oh, I have a drag family, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I actually was just a little gay boy in Hillcrest in 2011 with. I also have an openly gay brother. And at the time, his boyfriend, and I won't say what year this is because you don't need to know how old I am, because this concealer is putting in overtime tonight. But
Gorgeous.
back in the day, Drag Race was in its early seasons, and it was starting to you know, kind of blow up within the drag scene. I know right now it's like on nationwide television,
Yeah.
international at this point, but at the time it was very kind of underground still. And we would go to the viewing parties at Urban Mo's in Hillcrest, and it was really cool. I have a background in music, singing. I play multiple instruments. I was a cheerleader, all the things obviously that would make a great drag queen, but I didn't see myself ever going in that direction. But my brother's boyfriend at the time was, he kind of pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, why don't we go and drag? Let's go and drag. Let's go and drag." And I'm looking at him crazy because I'm like, we don't have the wigs, we don't have any of that. Like, it's not gonna, just magically appear. Like, someone has to, I had no knowledge. I wasn't sure if someone did it for us or, but at that time watching the show, I started to realize it was one of those um, kind of like self-made professions. Like back in those days, if you weren't doing your own hair, you weren't doing your own makeup, you weren't making your own outfits, stoning them,
Yeah.
all the nines, and just getting yourself together. And then if you weren't a sickening entertainer, like you're not doing drag. Like that was
Mhm.
the bottom line, the standard. So he convinced me to get all dressed up to go watch an episode, and it just, the energy, and there was something so different and I think empowering in a sense now that I think about it. kind of being dressed up or whatever that was I was doing that night, but also watching performances and going, I can do that. Like watching
Yeah.
the live performances and, but I mean, I can dance. Like I'm already kind of dressed up, like, and it was like the rest is history after that. I started to pursue it and kind of go out and figure out where I could kind of get discovered. And luckily enough, there was like a Wednesday night show. Because back in those days, there were it was very rare to have kind of like a show that you can go, and if you want to start doing drag, you can ask for a spot. All the other spots, I believe at the time, was Dream Girls and Lips, and they were very
Mm,
high end. Like you really had to have like your history down. You really had to be polished, and like I said, the standard was very different back then. So I was lucky to kind of land a couple of guest
yeah.
spots and in amateur competitions, and I would lose every single one. Uh, but my drag career has skyrocketed since. Like, so I don't ever do competitions. I can't take the failure.
No, I can imagine. You're just so amazing. If you guys ever get a chance to see Vanity Jones in person, oh my goodness, she's amazing. She rocks the house. Oh my God. Ugh, I love it. Especially the cabaret drag brunch that I just attended was amazing.
That was a lot of fun. Your grandma, that was your grandma, correct?
Yes, G
Dude,
Mom.
I know I said off to the side after one of my performances, I said that reminds me so much of my mom, and that is a whole other story. So that's probably gonna be another question. So we'll we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So speaking of that, we do consume entertainment way differently now than it was back in the day. It's consistently
Hmm.
changing. So how do you feel about the TikTok drag queens?
I think it's great. I mean, any avenue to be able to learn this craft, I think is great for anyone, but to know that's available to a kid who might be discovering who or she is, he or she is, and wanting to, express it in that way. I mean, a lot of the times drag for us is therapeutic. I mean, a lot of the times we have a whole other life outside of drag. Some of us, work 40-hour a week jobs on the complete
Yeah.
opposite side. So I think it's great to have that outlet available. And if there's tutorials to help you get to your best, your potential, then why not learn? I mean, I wish back in 2011 I had that, but she was barely able to find a even basic makeup tutorial on YouTube. So she
Yeah.
had them rough days.
Now, you mentioned having a musical background. Can you talk a little bit more about your technical training or how long you've been dancing?
Well, naturally, I've always been the type that can't, sit in my seat very
Yeah.
long. I'm always moving around. I'm very even at work, I'm more very like labor intensive than like say at a desk. Like that'll kill me. I'll fall asleep. I'll think
Yeah.
it's nap time. But if I'm up on my feet, really like with people and working, like that's just kind of, you know, what brings a little bit of that energy to Vanity. On the other hand, I'm actually a very shy person, so hiding behind a
Really?
yes, yes, yes.
That's
I had
very hard to
complete
believe.
I had I had complete stage fright as a kid. Like I'm not even kidding you.
Wow.
And yeah, so I think honestly, it really is just both of those that come together. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's therapeutic. So it helps me kind of, push that little scared boy over the edge and go like, you're gonna be fine. But technical training, I've always been a dancer. I think it comes with in the genetics for me.
Yeah.
And then I've always been very musically inclined. Like I'm that kid that's more into like dancing and music and self-expression than be really studious.
I really love the fact that you're saying you're for like you had this stage fright. So it's like every performance, you're having to conquer your fear each time, you know?
There's moments where it's like depending on the song or
Yeah.
depending on the look and what you have kind of put together, um, it can be very like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm excited. I'm really ready to serve it. But there's other times, like say, for instance, for me, like if I'm doing a number that I don't ever really do, and it's a brand new look, and say I want choreography in certain spots, or I
Mm.
want to do certain things on certain cues, I'm like thinking of that. Then you have to think, you got to be saying your words the whole time, and then you're moving your body. So it's a lot. It's like you got to be a well-oiled machine to
Yeah.
really give a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely felt Karma and I can relate to that, especially when you were mentioning earlier how you pretty much have to do everything, the makeup, the hair, creating your look, as you were telling us earlier. How was that for you on your journey, your sewing journey, I'm going to say?
Yeah.
What
What's that
your look?
creative process
Yeah.
like?
oh, I'm sorry. So that I thought your mic went out. Sorry. No. So as far as creative process, like I said, I had no other than dance and music. Uh, I had no prior knowledge of what drag entailed. I was literally just kind of watching the first kind of glimpses of what drag would be to the world at those drag race viewing parties, and seeing as how it was very like, you have to be creative and smart, witty, you also have to be crafty, you have to be all these things. And I guess being having all of those kind of those traits, I, I would say a little hidden because I never explored all those other things.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd ever be sewing, I could tell you that. My mom was a little bit of a seamstress. She had a sewing machine, and I just, I never looked twice at it, until drag became a thing for me, and it allowed me, once I learned the basic of the mechanics of the machine, and uh what pattern is to machine, and then and then what it becomes.
Yeah.
Oh, I was flying. I was immediately like, everything was, I was even upcycling my boy clothes. I was, it became really exciting because not only could I use it on stage but also off. So that really came in handy.
What was your first performance like?
Ooh, so sadly it's still on YouTube. I don't think I'm able to delete it because I'm not the person who uploaded it. But
Ah!
for history's sake, we'll just leave that there. But it was I remember going out to kind of dressed up to kind of promote yourself, kind of, get seen on the scene, by
Yeah.
whoever, and kind of rub elbows with those who are in the profession. Um, so I was told about a show on Wednesday nights called the Golden Chicks. Sorry, wow, y'all really making me think here. Dig open the files. No, it's the Golden Chicks, and they essentially became like my drag sisters. Like I said, I never really inherited a mother, but they were kind of like, they saw my potential as a high energy performer, and yeah, I needed a lot of work, but it was kind of like, okay, well, we'll take you along with us. Like mom said, you can. Mom said we had to take you with us. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so my first performance, I remember for the competition, it was two numbers of our choosing. It would be three altogether, three numbers. So we had to prepare two of our own, and then one was going to be whatever song the host gave us the night before.
Mm.
So it was kind of just like at random, and you had less than 24 hours to learn whatever you were given. So I
Wow.
remember my first one was an 80s song from the 80s by Apollonia 6 called Sex Shooter.
Mm.
Sex
Oh,
Shooter. Yeah, that was kind of the era I was in when Vanity was born, was being conceived. I was very 80s vixen, but I'm sure that's a whole other question also. But and then my last song, I remember I was really into it at the time. I don't know why. It was Man Eater by Nelly Furtado.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah,
Because
that's
I
it.
was like, I know I could work the hell out of that song, I could really deliver, and then I was given a random Madonna song for the middle song, and I was like, I got it. I grew up on Madonna, like, give me whatever. And it was,
Yeah.
I think it was music or something like that. And I was like, okay, work. And I gave it my all. I was wearing my fiance's niece's clothes that was in the middle school at the time. um, but I remember making it to top two because there was about 4 or 5 of us competing. I made it to
Okay.
Okay.
top two, and they were doing the whole like give it up for this one and then give it up for this one. It's all crowd applause. Mind you, I had a small group of people. It was my fiance, his mom, my brother, his boyfriend, like 4 people for me.
Yeah.
The rest of the audience, and it was packed in there because the other contestants brought all their people.
Mm.
So everyone's getting cheered for. I'm making it so everyone else's people that was getting cut ultimately was like, no, we're gonna cheer for Vanity. And mind you, I've never been out as Vanity at this time. I maybe was preparing for less than a month when I did this, and then
Yeah.
I remember making it to top two, and they're literally chanting "Vanity, Vanity," right? And I didn't win. They
Oh,
gave it to the other person,
oh,
and
Dang.
I swear a riot was about to happen. But it was just kind of like, I think for me looking back, that's that stamp of like, the little things aren't gonna be a problem. You're gonna go far, so don't worry about it. So I only did a handful of those little amateur spots until I got asked like one more time by the host, and I was like, you know what, I'm good. But maybe if you have like a regular guest spot, I don't know if I could take the disappointment over and over again. So, that's kind of just how I became a cast member. And yeah, the rest is just in the history books.
Mm-hmm.
yes, indeed. Oh my goodness. I absolutely love your name, Vanity Jones. Speaking of that, of which we were talking earlier, and where the name came from. Where did
Mm-hmm.
you grow up? Tell us about the upbringing of Vanity Jones and what it was like being you and your background and your nationalities and how you were able to merge who you are into Vanity Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my name, I would say, comes from two different eras of um, classic, like Hollywood and music. Vanity is inspired by the female 80s group, kind of mirroring Apollonia 6, Vanity 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have that hit song "Nasty Girl," which is a bop.
Yes, it is.
When it's funny because that never really even became like my anthem, my song that I was like, oh, this is it, this is Vanity's anthem. Like it was never that, which I'm really surprised. But it was more "Sex Shooter" by Apollonia. But I remember going, I don't know if that's gonna roll off the tongue quite right to people. I think Vanity's more, So I went with Vanity, and like I said at that time, I'm an '80s baby, so '80s '90s nostalgia is my everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember at that time I was kind of riding the wave of like Prince and all of that, like Tina Marie and like everything like he was producing. So definitely the three girl group Vanity Six was like, this is kind of what this is what I want Vanity to be, is that vixen-esque, very grown. I didn't like the cutesy bubblegum like Barbie girl. Like
Yeah.
it for me, I thought if I'm gonna embody a woman, I want to embody a woman who knows what she wants. She commands a presence. She, wears her heart on her sleeve essentially, but is like also like claws her out, you know. All of those things I kind of embodied in one, and that to me is like a strong woman is a strong force essentially. And
Mm-hmm.
so I rode with Vanity for a little bit, and another one of my favorites is Dorothy Dandridge.
Oh,
A lot of people, obviously, I grew up on her. A lot of people, I think also because of the age range, a lot of people, they're kind of like, ah, have I heard of that? And I explain to them who she is, and amazing activist and actress. But
Yeah.
her role as Carmen Jones was like the pivotal moment for her career and her, at least my learning that she was so hungry for that role because it was the lead. role. It was at the time the first all black cast in
Yeah.
in American Hollywood, which so she was hungry for it, and she finally got it and realized what it entailed of being that free spirit of like she just didn't want black women to be seen negatively,
Yeah.
but with convincing by the director and her really just going, well, I'm going to do the best damn job that I can and serve this role. And uh behind the scenes and also who she is in the movie, I just that was like what sealed the deal for me to take Jones from her role as Carmen Jones.
Wow.
So that strong, essentially, like owns their sexuality, and isn't afraid to say, I'm also still very woman-like, but I can hold myself up with the rest of them. So
Wow.
Vanity Jones.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Miss Dorothy Dandridge is a Cleveland girl too, by the
Is
way.
she really? Wow.
Yes, from Cleveland, Ohio, honey.
Yes, yes, I love it.
Now, I was going through some of your social media posts, and you had posted about 2011 being like a pivotal year for you. Can you kind of explain how that year kind of changed things in your journey?
Well, that year definitely, obviously drag kind of rolled into my life by accident, but I think it came at the right time for me. Um, I don't think that there was anything in my life that was really, really bad or really, really good. I felt a little stagnant.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of came at the right time to go, you're, I was just working, helping support my family, and then I didn't really see like a creative outlet. I'm like I said before, I'm very musically like motivated with
Yeah.
just everything. If I'm doing work, even when I'm at work and I'm not supposed to have my headphones in, I'm gonna have my headphones in.
Yeah.
But um, I think drag kind of came at a perfect time for me because then I finally realized this is it. This is what I'm kind of meant to do. This is what is gonna get me to where I want to be in all avenues of my career. But it definitely started different because before drag, I was actually trying to get a band started. I wanted to lead a band to play, just kind of bring the sounds of like an authentic band. I think a lot of at that time there was a lot of electronically produced music, and
Hmm.
I just love a good band when a good band can really cover something that is computer generated. I mean, it sounds amazing. So I think at that time that's what I was trying to bring back. I was doing some writing and I was working with a few producers, and it just kind of flatlined. And then, like I said, within that year, drag was like it was kind of like that light bulb moment. Like, oh, there you go,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Right.
Eventually, I want to be able to like revisit that. I want to use that in drag, which I mean I can right now, but it's a whole other beast that I want to make sure that when I present it, it's not half-assed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we're gonna be waiting to hear that. I mean,
Oh,
Absolutely.
hello.
no pressure. No pressure.
But on that note, talk to us about San Diego Pride, as you and I both are San Diegans. Tell us about your involvement in San Diego Pride here.
So, funny enough, like a lot of my first few years as Vanity, I maybe went to one Pride prior to me starting my drag career.
Yeah.
Um, just because I just never had that knowledge. I was fresh to the scene. I was very young. I was 21, so it was just all kind of new. Um, and I went one year and I checked it out. It was great. And then I think the following year is when I started doing drag. So I was really just kind of into like, what's the next gig I can get, or how do I further myself in this business? So the first few years, I wasn't really there. I didn't realize, okay, that's where you want to be seen by the masses. That's where you want to, it just wasn't clicking. But I was always working. I was always taking gigs, and around Pride season is when they're going to host a lot of like shows to showcase, like outside of our community. Now, um, with certain business owners and things like that being LGBTQI friendly, or them being part of the community themselves and owning a business outside of Hillcrest. And so it's great to be able to not only have it in the epicenter, which is Balboa Park, but kind of like start kind of slowly but surely, like kind of seeping out to the masses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So with Pride, I think now I'll be. Last year, it was actually my first performance. I was able to host 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, at the Asian Pacific Islander stage. And so I'll be doing that this year as well. I believe on Sunday. So it'll be a lot of
Ooh.
fun.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I need to go.
You should. It's a fun time. Just make sure you're hydrated and you have a big fan or something with you because, ooh, out in that sun, it's getting hotter. So it's gonna be harder to be doing any kind of makeup for that matter.
True.
Okay.
So tell us about House of Jones, how it began, how you made that kind of next step.
Oh Lord, we're gonna break out the daughters. No, I I remember, getting to learn the business and all the different aspects of being a drag performer. And I remember, drag mother and drag family was something I learned early on, but I was like, okay, well, I have my sisters here that help me, but we weren't technically like a house.
Yeah.
So my first, I had a few before my current house that either they moved away or they just kind of fell out of the business and life happens. But my current house is derived of 5 girls altogether, and they are all. It's really funny because it's typical mom answer, but really just honestly thinking about it is they all kind of take a little bit of each of me, and I think having this family and kind of sitting back and watching them perform, I can actually see like this is what they've taken from me. Like this is what they've taken, not in a negative way, but like
Yeah.
these this is what they must have seen in me,
Yeah.
and now they're living it. So that's like really, really rewarding. And yeah, I was just messaging the girls earlier today, and I was like, oh, I just want to bug you. Mama just misses you, that whole thing. But
Oh,
I think a lot of houses, it just provides a space, for young queer men and women to have a place. Like, honestly, my views on a drag house also is that, it should also be limitless. Like, if some of my drag children, as you would say, weren't necessarily performers, but they want to have that group, that their tribe. And what if it's within my house? I would never be like, oh no, like you don't do drag, you can't be here. Like it's not
yeah.
about that.
Mhm.
um, but with my daughters, like I said, they take a little bit of each of me on stage, so it's really rewarding to see that. And just also they've gained traction in the community fairly fast, and I wouldn't say it's off of me because that's not really how it works. Like you really have to kind of hustle, like once you
Mhm.
start doing it, kind of like how I stated earlier, you have to kind of get dressed up, you got to go out, you have to meet show producers and go and support shows and introduce yourself and say, hi, I'm so and so, and I that whole thing, networking. So it is, that's the business side of drag. So but they have been doing a great job of not only helping me with each other, but really like helping each other in this community. And they actually brought up to my attention recently that like it's starting to show within the community. A lot of other houses are starting to form in San Diego, and I love it. I just
Mhm.
think it's already hard enough to be queer, whether or not you do drag, uh, and we all know it's not always a fairy tale with our immediate family or our blood, or, our blood family. So to be able to provide a place for people to go is like I couldn't ask for anything else.
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing more important than the family that you create. I've always believed
Mhm.
that. And
Yeah,
just, I feel like those houses are like, it's like a safe space, for you to just be yourself. Like everybody needs their tribe. And when you find that tribe, when you meet those set of people that bring out the best in you and allow you to be yourself fully, there's no greater feeling.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been hosting Vanity Hour? And tell us a little bit more about what the show is like.
So I started that show in 2017, maybe mid to late 17. Definitely pre-pandemic. And I used to actually I originally hosted it. It was a full circle moment for me. Because by the time I got the Vanity Hour, I had been a few years in the game, so I've performed a little bit of everywhere, and I kind of it was like the perfect time as far as who I was in the community and then what I could become after this show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but 2017, it was hosted at the Rail, and it was a great space. And um, I originally kind of wanted the concept to be drag meets like the old school, like the Viper Room in Vegas, very exclusive. It's like mixes in, a little bit of cabaret, but like freshen it up with like new school stuff. And I really had more of uh like a tightly produced show at that time, but it's trying to get people to come in and kind of making sacrifices as far as like budget. It's like everyone has to be paid. So it was a lot of changes made to my original concept, but how everything rolled out, the queens that I ended up having as my original cast members, they all did amazing job. And um, we were able to bring in like a bunch of different people from all over. I've had comedians, local and out of town comedians,
Wow.
amazing burlesque uh, performers. One of which I want to give her a little shout out if I can.
Of course.
Her name is Jezebel Thunder. She's based out of LA. If you guys ever get a chance to watch her, like, there's not a lot of people that I'm like, if they're that's something that inspires me. Like that's what I want to exude on stage. Jezebel Thunder is the real deal when it comes to burlesque, and she's a beautiful black woman. So she's such an inspiration, and I love her. I can't wait to have her back. Hopefully, we can have her on a show so you guys could see her.
Ooh,
Um,
yes.
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, with the pandemic and everything, it kind of took like a side street down a dark alley a little bit. But we're now on the other side. We're on the other block, but we're doing great actually. The current bar that I hosted at Number One on Fifth has been amazing at really catering to what I had there and being able to bring as much of it to their stage as well. So I big ups to them.
Mhm.
Oh yes, man. I have been there. And honey, the
Yeah,
DJ
yeah.
got the hits going. And oh my God, you gotta go. Like it's hands down. Y'all come to San Diego, make
And you
sure.
want to know why? You want to know why is because he's from our age range, and
Yeah.
that's a whole other conversation. That was a whole
Uh-huh.
other call. But this last month in June, we had our show. I told everyone, okay, have a good night, drive safe, and stay and take pictures with the girls. Like, come say hi,
Mhm.
mingle a little bit, and then I had the mic, and Miss Avalon, one of my drag daughters, Miss
Yes.
Avalon, look over to her, and I go, watch this, and I turn and I go, play Nuck if you buck, and he goes, got you. It was on. I was the only one knucking and bucking because ain't nobody was ready to fight.
Oh, Vanity, they don't know. I feel like they don't know like that. That is
Everyone like it was like it wasn't even playing. Like these kids, only Avalon, and she was doing a little two step to the side. I said, no, fine, I'm gonna dance by myself. I don't care. I'm gonna throw
right.
elbows in this bar by myself.
That part, that part. Well, speaking of that, Nook, if your book, tell us about any messy situation you've been in or witnessed
Mhm.
being a part of the drag community?
Well, it's crazy. I'm just really blessed that at this point, um, I haven't been too physically harmed. It hasn't been too crazy for me to take care of myself or to be in situations where there's help nearby or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but I have had a couple incidences where I was leaving the bar. I was by myself. Of course, I don't ever recommend that, especially leaving shows. So I was leaving by myself, and I had stayed in drag after a show, and I go, I'll just I'll change in my car before I drive off, just to be a little bit more comfortable. And that was the original plan. So it was already 3 in the morning. This was in Hillcrest. It was next to the Whole Foods, and I was taking my clothes from the front seat and I was taking it to the back seat. And of course, if you know Vanity Jones and you've seen what she looked like over the years, she's got curves and swerves in all the right places. So that always got attention. And at this night, it wasn't the best attention, but a couple guys pulled up behind me, and they were trying to get my attention, and I was like, okay, well, this isn't, I guess we're not changing. I guess we're going straight home.
Hmm.
And then they get out of their car, and I was like, we're definitely going home. So I just get in
Mm-hmm.
my car and I drive off, and I'm going down University, trying to get to the 805, and they follow me all the way to the freeway.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, yeah, that's one. Once I had parked. Oh well, I was parked in the right place. It's just the parking lot was super small. So in the bigger clubs, when there's events, multiple events happening, like parking is limited, and that whole thing. So I was asked to do a show at one of the clubs, and where my car was parked, it was blocking another the club had rented equipment from I had a third party, and they were picking up all the
Yeah.
extra staging and all that kind of stuff. And I guess my little Kia was, blocking them. And they kept sending someone in to make an introduction on the mic and say, if you drive this car, you're needed in the back. But they kept introducing it to the people out in the show. And I was already in the dressing room. I already had
Oh,
packed my stuff, and I was like, I was gonna go out. Usually I get my check, it clears, and I bounce. I go home and I get into bed.
mm-hmm.
But I was like, I don't have work tomorrow. I'm gonna go hang out with my girls and see who's out and about. I don't ever get to do that anymore. And um, long story short, they never called backstage. If someone drives this car, you guys should probably move. And I was like, well, I'll meet everyone at the bar. So I go out there, and these two guys are like pissed. They're pissed that they had to call a tow truck because they were going to tow my car. And I was just like, oh, sorry, mind you, I'm still done up. Like, I just
Yeah.
got off the stage. I didn't even change into flats. Like, I was still wearing my spiked heel boots.
Oh,
uh and I was like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I'm so sorry, I'll move my stuff. And I trying to get out of the way, and they just, like, both of them are aggressively, like, yelling and in my face. And I
mm,
was like, well, I can move and it wouldn't be a problem. So they were able to back their truck out. But what they did is they also had their own vehicles. They had big trucks. So they pretty much sandwiched me behind the bar in the alleyway, so I couldn't get out. And then they both were like, you need to move, and all yelling at me, cussing up a storm. And I'm I'm an Aries. I'm going to bite back if you find me, especially in that
That
situation.
says it all.
yes.
And I was just like, I am like, because I give the same energy I get.
Yeah.
So if it's getting aggressive, I'm like trying to tell them, like, I can't get around you guys' car. You guys are trying to tell me to leave and I can't,
Right.
kind of thing. And I remember it was escalating so quickly, and I was like, I'm gonna literally fight two guys in full drag. I made sure all my rings were on, though. They may not have been
Hey.
real, but they were all on.
Mug if you bug,
They
boo.
they
Yeah.
exactly, they
Yeah.
were about to find out. They were about to find out.
She will
So I
not.
remember it was getting really loud, and meanwhile all that is happening, but at the same time I know there's residential behind the club, so I'm like, oh my god, is someone gonna call cops? Can someone come break it up? Like,
Yeah.
nobody. Like, and I'm in full drag. Like, if you blinked you might could tell not a woman, but you know what I mean. Like, and so I remember seeing all the the go-go boys, or these big muscly guys, that haven't even gone on for work yet. They're just waiting backstage. They're all like staring like, "Oh my god, what do we do?" And I'm like, "Y'all just gonna let them?"
Help. Like, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
like come
So
through.
I guess that's what we're doing, you know. And I will never forget this, but the manager at the time, she was the only one that ran out and had to push me back into my car.
Mm,
Wow.
And I tell you, the power of black women. She was a
yeah.
black woman also, and she came out. I give her a shout out, Lenora. I love her. She had pushed me in my car, and I'm immediately like, if I'm with anybody in that situation, if it's my friends or anybody, I'm gonna want to make sure they don't get hit. So
Yeah, yeah.
she's trying to push me back in my car, and I'm trying to get in front of her to make sure she doesn't get hit. So we're kind of doing this a little bit for a second, and I was like, okay, I was trying to make sure, okay, their energy is like on me and not to hit her, because that's where it just would have been a problem.
Yeah.
Um, and so eventually she gets me into my car. She's like sitting on me at this point so I wouldn't get out. And a glass bottle shatters on my windshield because they threw it from their truck that they were in. They had blocked me and they blocked me. He walked all the way
Wow.
to his truck and threw it and it shattered. And I thought it hit her. So, oh my God, I had pushed her out of the way and it was a mess. It was a mess. Eventually, like, I was able to leave and they were still trying to, like, follow me to the freeway and block me on the street. And I left. Thank God I drove a Kia at that time because I said, skirt, skirt. I was out.
Do you carry like some mace, some pepper spray, taser, like
Right.
just in
I
case you
No,
gotta
I
get
need
buck?
to because I've ever since it's funny because my fiance is usually always with me at performances to record, and nothing ever happens. And
Yeah.
those two times, it was when I was like, no, don't worry, but just stay home or it'll
Hmm.
be fine, don't worry. Like, and I'm calling him. I get home, I remember I'm like in tears, but I'm like, when you're so mad you want to hit something, but you're crying at the same time. That
Yeah.
was me just like popping off every nail, like this is, like taking everything. I was mad. I was mad. And every time I told them, I go, every time this happens, I always say, I need to carry a bat. I need to carry something.
Yeah.
And, luckily this happened prior to the pandemic, all of that stuff. Like there was a few other things, but I mean, it wasn't ever too serious. Um, but I haven't experienced anything like that since the pandemic. There has been other occurrences in the community that have been scary. There have been shootings, and one of them was a friend of mine who was walking home from that same bar, and he
Wow.
was shot and robbed. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's very scary.
It
yeah.
Was your
But
friend and did your friend end up being okay?
yes, he actually he couldn't walk for a while. Obviously, was shot in the back of the leg, and
Oh my
then
gosh.
but he survived, and he's doing great. He's back on his feet. I always make sure to check on him. Um, but yeah, he's good. I just think when things like that happen, it's just a wake up call to just be more of a community and to protect each other. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It can't just be, oh
Mm-hmm.
that's not my business. And yeah, sometimes it's like, I mean, that's how I grew up. If it didn't have anything to do with you, that's not your business. But being a good Samaritan is doesn't cost you anything,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. At least to check on the person if they're okay, like so being in those situations where no one checked on me, it's like I'm not going to turn around and just turn the other cheek when I see someone else in the same situation, anybody for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we want to ask you a fun question.
Okay,
If your clothes could talk, what would they say?
stop making chaps. No, I'm making chaps. Stop making chaps with bell bottom. Stop making them to the side. Stop making them to the front. No, I've told Vila this before. Also, is when I started to learn how to sew, there were certain things that I always wanted to learn.
Mhm.
That once I accomplished learning them, it was in every print. It was on
Yeah,
every
yeah.
costume. It just became every single piece. If I had every single piece of Versace print fabric, you would see it's either a chap, it's a jumpsuit, it's never a dress. If it is, it's a short little dress you can dance in because she's always wearing chaps or something. No, but I think I don't know what that is. I just once I really conquer something that I'm like, I love it. I want to see it on everything.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, Also, they'd say, we're tired. We're tired." Some of them would be saying thank you for hemming us. Um, and everyone collectively would say thank you, Vila, for showing me how to use a serger. So
Oh, honey, we're here. We're here. But on that note, what are some of your fashion inspirations over the years and even like currently?
um God, like I like anything from like glamour to like I see I don't know, this is just a really indecisive type of answer because I like anything from like glamour, high fashion, like uh contemporary stuff, like all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. To anything comedic, very camp, um, dark, any type of stuff like that's how I am with my drag. I try to be as versatile as possible. So as far as what,
Mhm.
I wear, I try to make sure that that's, different, minus making that one thing in every single pattern or color, you know, um, just really being able to be versatile with what you wear.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. I mean, not only does it take you from one look to another, but like as a showgirl, you kind of have to be able to have those things or have that mindset, that skill to go, okay, this broke on this side. Well, we're, gonna wrap it around here. We're gonna, whatever, you kind of have to make it work for stage. Like,
Mhm.
uh, if you could just see what goes on backstage at a drag show. I mean, never mind. You guys never want to see what that's like. No, but no, but the things that you kind of have to as a show performer, you kind of have to reupholster, if you will, when something malfunctions, Me, I've always been that type of person. Like, I would love to wear I'm wearing a lot of jewelry right now because I'm not moving. I'm not going anywhere. Usually, I mean, Vila knows I'll be whipping my hair
Yeah.
around, I'll be flipping, like that is not going to stay on my body. And as beautiful as it is, I just, I try to keep the jewelry a minimum. A nice hoop will do, and we'll tighten her real good so she doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, but if, certain parts of like, you would never know this. I'm going to tell y'all right now, these are not even earrings. They, again,
Oh.
another showgirl trick. These are super glued to my ears
Oh.
because they were
Yeah.
they were from the other necklace I was supposed to wear with this that broke. And I said, well, you know what? I don't got earrings.
Ooh.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like just improvising, making it work. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people aren't familiar with that. That's what I love about you, Vanity, is that you come from the, I guess it's old school. I don't know what to call it, but we have to be everything, you
Yeah.
know?
You have to be self-sufficient for sure.
Mhm.
Because not, I mean, if at all, can these clubs, can you imagine having six performers in your cast in what could only, backstage be accommodable for three, plus they have their luggage, and if they have any props, could you imagine like going, okay, well, you guys are allowed to have your whoever's going to do your makeup, like that's another two three people, and then
Oh,
there's
yeah.
setup. It's like you have to already come painted. You have to know how to make sure your face doesn't melt in the summer. Like, just a lot of things you learn
Mhm.
in this business that, you know also with the fashion side of things, like I said, these are from a broken necklace. Or I'll take like the centerpiece of like a necklace, and if the necklace or the chain breaks, it becomes something on my hair. Or if I have my hair pulled out back and up, it becomes something that I just put right here, depending on the aesthetic or the color. And that's the fun thing about drag, and that I think everyone can take with them. Really, like, hair trinkets are great. Why are we wearing them?
Mhm. Yeah.
Exactly. Throw it at her, she'll catch it, eat it up, and spit it out. Like, oh,
Exactly. You got to glam up every day of your life, even when you don't want to.
mhm.
Now, when the lights go down and the curtains close and you take off that drag, Who are you? Who's the essence of you?
I'm tired. I am so damn tired. She's hungry, a little moody, but if she gets something to eat, she'll be fine. No, honestly, like I said, like when I was younger, I was very timid and shy. And the funny thing is, out of there's four of us, out of my three other siblings and myself, I'm the only one that is a performer.
Yeah.
The rest of them not a performance body, a bone in their body. So thank you, mom. Thank you, mom, for that. Um, but I'm also the most timid, believe it
Yeah.
or not.
Really? I don't get that from
Yeah.
you at
Well,
all.
that night that was different. You put on something that can relate to, like a whole 2000s
A whole
playlist.
session, a whole session. We was going
It
on.
was great. But I'm honestly just very like I don't say low maintenance. That sounds bad. Like I don't care of myself. Uh, but I'm total homebody, total opposite. Like
Yeah.
out of me and my fiance, I'm the one that cooks. I'm more of like the domesticated one.
Yeah.
Wild animal on stage, domesticated animal in the household.
I love my
Um,
cancer crab. I can relate to that.
right.
I would be.
I just funny thing is, aside from drag and my creativity on stage, I love to cook. Like it's funny, some people, and a lot of the times as we get older, like we just work 8 hours, 8+ hours, and we want to come home and just maybe have something ready or grab something on the way. Life is fast. So,
Yeah.
but for me, like, even if it's been like a long day, cooking is a little therapeutic for me too. It's like my quiet time.
Mm.
'Cause I know fiance isn't going to set foot in the kitchen, so I'll be good to just have that peace and quiet.
Yes, yes. I know
And
what you
also, it's like that. I think it takes something out of my creative self on that end of like, I like looking at my pantry and my fridge and being like, okay, what do I have here that I can make just because I don't
Yeah.
want to go to the store?
right.
Making something out of nothing. I love that challenge. Kind of like with drag, like, what do I have here? What can I put together? What trinket can I put here? What can I add here? It's like, it's that same type of thing, but on two different sides of the world.
Yeah. Very much interrelated. No, definitely.
But definitely more like a goofball. And you'll see that in my drag too. Just, I could be in a serious character or something and I just break the fourth wall. And funny enough, is in the beginning, I never did that because I was so scared to interact with people. You would think it's
I
not the
would
case, but
have never thought that.
I promise you, I used to be so nervous, and I think that's why a lot of people kind of had to tell me like you need to you smile more, interact with people, and at the time I remember just thinking, isn't just being a good dancer and lip singer, isn't that enough? Like, can I go home? Like, I just did my homework. Can I go home? Kind of thing. And it's so much more than that. It's really making like eye contact with people, and like when people are tipping you, it's you don't want to just ever snatch a dollar. I mean, you
Hmm.
can, but you might get your wig snatched. But
Okay,
there's people I know telling just
but try me.
please, even if it was $1 bill, snatch it from my hand, see what happens.
No, I'm telling you, don't play with her. Like she will mess you up.
It's for me. I can kind of sense that too in the audience now, having done it for so long, seeing who's like, oh, it's their first time, so they're a little bit reserved, and then you kind of like, I have my little qualms. Like Vila, you probably saw it on Sunday. I kept like taking dollars, and that's the vanity signature. I'll check a
Yeah,
dollar, I'll put it in here. I'll check a dollar and kind of give them that like just a dollar,
like that's
or I'll sit there and I'll act like I'm out of breath.
yes, I remember
Or
that too. Oh my goodness.
I'll be
Love
like, I didn't land that move, so she's just gonna stay down here, like down in the depths, so she's ready to get up. So her knees said nope.
girl. Them knees be saying her age where? Like I've got this. Like
No,
you're
they're desperate. They're desperately yelling, collagen, collagen, please.
I can't
Osteo Biflex, please.
I hear you, but you are such an inspiration. You are a bright light. And I hope you know that in all of the love that you give. And I hope you receive the love that you are and the love that you give. As you're such a beautiful person.
Mhm.
And I hope that in your heart and your soul that you have an idea of what type of legacy you want to leave behind. We would like for you to share with us like what gift you hope to give with your legacy.
Um, Honestly, what I would love to leave behind is, that's I knew that question was on here, and I was like, how am I gonna answer that? No, honestly, just leaving behind kindness and
Yeah.
a sense of will to fight, even if you don't feel like there is. There's always something, and if not anybody else, yourself.
Mm.
Like I said, drag is, I don't want to give like that cheesy stereotypical answer like drag has saved my life. And not to discredit anyone that feels that way, but I think like what we were saying earlier, it came at a right time, because prior to myself, my mom was an entertainer.
Mm,
Back in the day, she actually had her own all female group in the Philippines that did a lot of dancing and film appearances in what would be their Hollywood in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And in the 60s, my mom was asked, she was the leader of her group, and they were asked to tour Vietnam and entertain the troops there. So, I mean, I guess that's where I get like all my music and singing and
Mhm.
dancing, and I definitely get all that from her. But losing her in 2014 was very pivotal because
Mm.
I feel like the first couple of years of drag, it was exciting, and I had like this fire because I would always, I would always tell myself, one day I'm gonna get so good at this that one day I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna tell my mom and dad, like, I'm getting you out of here, like I'm gonna get you a
Mm.
house, I'm gonna, that whole thing. And so when my mom passed, it was kind of hard to, keep that momentum because,
Yeah.
there was, to me, it's like the flame had been blown out. Like, what
Mm.
was even the point, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, but my mom's spirit is strong. Like, I totally believe that because as soon as I decided I was going to quit because I didn't really see the purpose of it anymore, other than like the obvious, like it brings me joy and I'm good at it,
Yeah.
uh, I just didn't see the point. And as soon as that happened, everything started. All these opportunities came. All these opportunities to get ahead, and I almost like soared in
Mm.
San Diego. And I was like, "All right, mom, you got me there. You got me there. Okay, fine. I'm not
Yeah.
quitting."
right.
Um, but just everything that she's ever taught me about just being a human being, about being a strong woman in just the world that we live in, and just making things happen for the ones you love and for yourself. Uh, and just I wish to leave that with my drag family, and if anyone ever remembers me when I'm gone, just be a good person. It doesn't cost you money,
That's
and
beautiful.
don't take life too seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a midlife crisis, but right now I'm just gonna like all the things I liked when I was a kid, or like whatever. So what? It's like 30-year-old. No, what am I kidding? 36-year-old man over here wearing Disney. Like, I want to be that cool senior citizen that's still cussing up a storm and is like
Okay.
wearing sweatpants. I'm not going out in slacks and a button up. Like, come on now.
Okay. I want to be part of that club too.
Okay, I'm telling you, G-Ma is all about that. Like you, both of y'all know G moms. Like can
Yes.
do the same. She be living her
Yes.
best life, child.
So I was telling, kind of to piggyback off of that a little bit at the brunch. So I shared this with Avalon. I don't know if I shared it with you too, but like growing up, my mom used to also be like her one woman like party catering decorating, like all that kind of thing, like a little business that she would put together for her friends.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
she was also a 25-year dialysis patient, so she 25 years plus, I believe. But even when she was on dialysis, she was always doing something, catering someone's party,
Wow.
just even like decorative stuff, or even just kind of like she's done weddings, she's done all those types of things. Like she's a jack of all trades type of woman, and that's kind of I'm the one that's kind of like parallel to her in this generation, which I am extremely grateful for. But
Yeah.
so when I was younger and I would go to these events with her, there would always be like DJs and dancing, and I always knew because I know how my mom was. She was like the party starter. Also, she was like, "No one's dancing. Well, let's get people up and dancing. Like that's why we have
Oh, I love
DJs."
that.
But you know what I mean? She's very that person. She always had to be that person. I was like, like as a kid, mind you, prior to drag, I was like, no, I don't want to dance in front of these people. I don't know them. They're probably looking at me all crazy. Like, and people are just as shy and as scared as I was. But I didn't know that. I was just like, it's awkward. They're not people I know. So my mom would always grab me by the wrist and, come on and dance. And I would not like. Me and my mom were like this when it came to dancing, but I just didn't want to do it in public. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so, but before you know it, like we would be dancing and laughing, and I wouldn't even be nervous anymore. Everyone else would be dancing, and so that's something that I kind of take with me in shows now. So with your grandma, like when she came in, and mind you, their stature, they look very similar. Like before my mom passed, she looked
Really?
like your so I'm surprised I didn't burst out in tears because that has happened at a brunch before. And I
Yeah.
had to end my song like, all right, see you guys later, exit stage left.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it was great. It was more like light, and their energies are very similar. So that's why I was just cracking up. So anytime that happens on stage, when I pull up people to dance with me, or it's very reminiscent, and it's become a lot easier to do. I remember the first time it happened, the lady looked identical to my mom.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Oh.
she was someone who I would end up becoming really good friends with. It was her mom. She brought her there for the birthday.
Mhm.
And I didn't even see her because there was so many people standing in the back. And she's a short little Filipino lady. And I'm doing my number, I'm doing the whole thing. And then I make it all the way to the back. And it was like a movie. The people in the back just kind of did this. And she was standing there. She starts dancing. And I in the video, you can see like I look back at my fiance, like, do you see this shit? Do you know
Uh-huh.
what's happening here? Like a couple times I look back, and I was like, okay, zone everything out. She just wants to dance to you. It's her birthday. She just wants to have a good time. You do your job. But it was just so like I was having flashbacks in that moment. It was like happening in slow motion, but fast forward at the same time. It was so crazy. And I remember my brother and his two daughters were in the audience, and uh, they were in the back, or so I thought. And I
Mhm.
remember that was happening. I think like internally I started having like a panic attack because it felt really real.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this had been a few years after my mom passed, like couple 2 3 years. And I remember I immediately looked to my right, uh, and I see my nieces and my brother, and I was like, okay, thank God the music is done. And then I was dancing with her, and I stopped, and then she went like this. She blew me a
Mm.
little kiss, and I turned around so fast, and I ran. I ran all the way backstage, and I was sobbing into the big old floor fan. I was like sobbing, and the other girls were like, "Oh my God, what is wrong?
Yeah.
Like, what happened?" And I'm like, snot coming down my face. I'm like sobbing. And then it was just I can laugh at it now, but it was just one of
Mm.
those moments that like even though she's not here, that's her kind of going like I'm here with you at every performance. So
Yeah.
do what I taught you. Do everything that I taught you. And maybe she may not have taught me specifically tips and tricks and things like that because she was kind of by the time I started doing drag, she was kind of the last leg of her life, and so she
Mm.
wasn't able to make it out to shows. She made it to one, which was her birthday right before she passed,
Mm.
uh, and that's all I needed. And from that moment, I just kind of knew like I'm never like alone, and that's
Yeah.
kind of ties in with what you guys were saying about leaving a legacy. I want people to remember me for the same things
Yeah.
that I pulled them up to dance with them, or that I did certain things that made them laugh, like it's funny that you asked because the other day I was just thinking about it's kind of like a conversation I think having lost my mom and always reflecting on how things mapped out. I always talk to my fiance. We have these conversations normally about like when we pass. And I go, I wouldn't want anyone to be sad. I want people to like mourn and everything separately because it's a very private thing. I know I had to do a lot of it by myself. It was just
Yeah.
necessary. And I know a lot of people were there and very supportive, but I was also very like, I kind of need to have that internal monologue with my mom, you know, when
Mhm.
necessary because I wasn't here for her death. But I wouldn't want anyone to be sad, like mourn on your own, but I would want people to share stories about like a funny story that we had together or something that like just would make you laugh. Like I want it to be joyous, you know, and
Yeah.
kind of just change that a little bit.
Now, being a drag mom surely is quite challenging. What made you decide to be one, and how did kind of your relationship with your own mom kind of influence that as well?
So I mean, before long, after a few years, it didn't take long for a couple of people to kind of approach me and kind of propose the idea. But when I did finally kind of start taking it seriously, it just kind of came natural to kind of take someone because I'm a naturally like helpful person
Mhm.
in and out
Yeah.
of drag. Like if there's any way that I can help, no matter what type, I'll be there, or I'll offer it. I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve. But when by the time I had daughters, my mom had already been passed away, so she didn't really even get to meet any of them. Which I tell them all the time, if
Mm.
she were here, she would spoil the hell out of all of you, and I'd be getting in so much trouble because I know she would already be that typical grandma, like, don't hit my babies, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, uh, but definitely her patience, uh, and I kind of had like, it's crazy. I kind of had like a full circle moment because earlier today I actually went to go visit her at the cemetery and leave some flowers and kind of just have that quiet time. And I kind of came to a realization, like kind of circling back to what I told you earlier about seeing a little piece of me in each one of them.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
uh, it was kind of like her giving me that stamp of like that's what it is. That's what it means to be a mother. That's in our happiest moments amongst all the stress, amongst all the pain, and you're tired, and but you got to do all this stuff and bills and all that. Like there's certain moments when the payoff diminishes all of that.
Hmm.
So honestly, like growing up, my mom would always tell me whether it was for musical performances in school or cheer or anything like that. Uh, because her father, my grandfather, was a musician and he did a bunch of other things. So it kind of came down the ladder.
Yeah, it's
So
in.
she would always tell me, if only your grandfather was here, he'd be so proud of you. And I remember growing up, never even having a memory or recollection of this person. He passed away, I think
Mm.
the same week I was born, or if not the same couple weeks.
Wow.
But so I remember the last words I told my mom before she had passed was, and this was aside from drag, I actually wanted biological kids at one point. Um, so I had told her, I think it was my last I kind of knew what the situation was gonna be. I just wasn't physically accepting the conversation we were having.
Yeah.
But I told her, mom, I don't want any of my kids to grow up like that. It wouldn't be fair because I'm the youngest out of four, and I go, it wouldn't be fair to turn to my kid and say, if your grandma was here, she would just be loving this. And then how do they react to that?
Hmm.
But life worked out the way that it did. But it's funny because then I'm saying that now to my own drag daughters, like my mom would totally love this. Like it was, it, in her zone of like entertainment and what she did as a young woman back in the 60s.
Hmm.
So how, on that note, and this is beautiful, like just explaining like how like it's in your blood, the music and performing and putting events together, and being a mother, a drag mother, is so wonderful. How important do you believe support is, and who do you depend on?
Mm-hmm.
Well, support, I feel like my stance on anything um, is love and support should come before judgment. So,
Mm.
when you see someone hurting, the energy the energy may not always be I need your help. Please help me. But when you can read, someone's energy, the way that they're doing something, it can also be a cry for help, even if it's something aggressive or, whatever. I think support, or even just to offer it, or at least to tell someone I'm here, that means a lot, because you
Yeah.
never know who it can affect when it needs to take effect, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so immediately, like, I would say like support is goes hand in hand with like love, and just like, I know it's hard to do, but when you see someone needs help, like, you just help them, use your best judgment.
Right.
What's
Indeed.
your definition of happiness, and are you happy?
My definition of happiness, that's a good question. I would say, well, I would say my happiest moments is when I'm performing, when the energy level is high, when I see people smiling, when I see people laughing, and I'm just full of, like, I could be tired. I could have had a week from hell, and I haven't even gotten a day's rest. I've been sewing every day after work since the show, but when
Yeah.
it's showtime, it's go time. You know what I mean? And so for me, I don't think about the fact that my feet hurt, that I have gotten zero sleep, that I have two, three more numbers, and the dressing room is hot, and
Mm-hmm.
this and that. Like, when I'm out there and I'm dancing and I'm performing, that is, to me, I don't know, just that's what brings me the ultimate joy. Because everything is worth it. All the sacrifices that you make. I think being happy is when you realize the fruits of your labor, and it may not even be that you're a billionaire or that you're the most successful, whatever. But it's, for me, it's literally the little triumphs in life,
Yeah.
because that's what's gonna keep you on that road of, like, keeping a clear mind, of like getting to the next step. So recognizing every triumph, in your life, I feel like, is the best type of like happiness, because you're able to move forward and not dwell on the past.
Vila, ask our fun question.
Okay, okay, okay. So we got
One
a
and
scenario for you, whatever, right? So let's say that you at work, you at your 9 to 5, right? And you supposed to be getting off of work at 5 o'clock, but the freaking show that you're supposed to perform at starts at 4, and you got a flat tire, and your boss is up there tripping, saying all of this crazy stuff. You lost one of your paddings for your look and everything, and it's just a hot mess, child. What do you do?
What would I do in that situation?
Hmm.
I I actually have had nightmares of these types of scenarios. I'm telling you that I don't have nightmares about ghosts. I don't have nightmares about monsters or zombies. I have nightmares of, I get to the gig, I don't have no pants on. Uh, I come there and I'm shaved, no makeup, like, I don't even see my stuff next to me, and they're like, we go on in 30 minutes, and I'm like, okay, 30 minutes, I can make that happen, I think. And next thing you know, all my facial hair has grown back.
Oh
Yeah, it's like everything is going in reverse, like a time lapse in reverse. Those are like my nightmares. Luckily enough, I think I stress myself out so much that I'm like, even when I do have time, I'm like, oh my god, we gotta go, we gotta go. Like, I'm like trying to power paint and like paint really super fast, which, if you got to paint on both eyebrows and do liner the same way on both sides, like forget it. Like, but it's funny because in the times that I'm rushing, that's when I'll look the most beat. But if I'm like taking my time, I'm like, oh, that could have been better. They're my eyebrows, they're cousins, they're not twins, but they're not the kind of cousins that get along. So we gotta make something where wear a bang the whole show. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
but if given that scenario, I mean, there's just like I said, there's so many showgirl tricks and tips that you're like, okay, well, if I don't have my padding, I'm gonna wear some poofy, belted up. You're gonna have a slim waist. You're gonna be a little, ballerina. Like there's just certain silhouettes you can change. I mean, and now that drag is, well, not that it's just been entering this realm, but there's been bearded drag queens that are
Mhm.
more gender fluid, so they'll have the facial hair, they'll have like a beard, but they'll be beat just as much as like anybody with the face, and it works, and it's just it enlightens two different things. So I mean, just being it's like I said, it's important to be versatile because when you're thrown an obstacle, you can at least go, okay, that I got that I can work out that I can do that I'll do that. But if I'm only like a one-way girl that's like, I only do this, I don't know how to do anything else, you could lose a gig.
Yeah.
Then you don't get paid. The check doesn't clear.
And we need the bag, okay?
I'm just
That's it. That's that
saying.
flexibility. Like the show must go on no matter what. Make it
Hmm.
work, figure it out.
You
So
gotta
in
do
the same
something.
instance, if you're in your 9 to 5, RuPaul calls you at 2 o'clock, says that there's a casting in your area. You got to be there by 3:30. Boss says if you leave early again, it's a wrap. No more bag. What do you do? Do you stay at the 9 to 5 or do you say screw it? We go into this casting.
That's what I say. Bye.
I
Well, a
know that's
job is a
right.
job. And if I could tell you however many times they told me, you're gonna get fired, I go, no, because you need me.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm about to be fired. Girl, let me walk out this door right now. You better close down the department till I get back.
That part.
But let's just talk. First of all, if RuPaul called my phone, I'd be like, "What do you mean audition? I already got the part. If you have my number."
Hello.
Period, period.
So I'd be like, "Yeah, bye 9 to 5. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Now, do you
This
have
granted,
any?
this restaurant management is cute, but RuPaul just called, girl. What do you want?"
Right, right. Do you have any up and coming projects that you want people to know about?
Well, like you guys stated earlier, I have the Vanity every fourth Thursday of the month at number one on fifth. Um, I'm constantly uploading or trying to be better about uploading constantly content for all like on my TikTok and my Instagram, things like that. But I do have a few gigs out of town. I will be going to the Sassafras Saloon on the Strip in Hollywood. It's actually a haunted saloon uh,
Wow.
that they host burlesque and drag. So I'll be performing there at the Pop Tart Drag Show on Saturday the 8th. And then I have a brunch in Escondido at the Good Omen, and that place is a lot of fun. Their food and drinks are really really good, so I'm excited to be back. And they got money up there, so take all
Okay.
the Republicans' money,
Okay.
Yes.
Right now.
give it
You
all.
mentioned Instagram. Give them your Instagram moniker.
So my Instagram handle is official underscore Vanity Jones. You'll see my little Filipino sleeve top with the floral. You'll see it's the only drag queen with the name Vanity Jones. But also Facebook and TikTok, it's under Vanity Jones, so you can find me there too.
Oh, yes. Y'all heard it first. Official underscore Vanity Jones. We do want to play a special game with you before
Yes,
we let you go.
do it.
Um, this game is called Basic or Baddie. So, with this game, we have a couple celebrities. I think we have about 7 or 8 celebrities in 2 different outfits. And we're just going to decide, do we prefer them in their kind of more basic look, or do we prefer them in kind of that baddie look, that va va boom, 100% on stage?
All
So
right.
let's get into it. Here we go. I feel like we need some music.
I know, right?
Right, right, right.
But on that note, any shout outs to anyone, your daughters or anyone in particular?
Yes. Let's shout out the House of Jones. We have Foxy, BB, Rosie, Eris, and Avalon. And they are mommy's girls. They're out there taking over Hillcrest, so look out for them. Also, I want to give, I don't know, let's see, who deserves a shout out? To my job for letting me have Sundays back so I could do brunch.
And the hubby.
He's there, the cameraman.
Yes.
He's the cameraman. I
Hey.
date the cameraman. Been dating him for a while.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Basic
All
or
right,
baddie, y'all.
let's see.
All right, so first we have Coyle Ray on the left. She was photographed at the latest Louis Vuitton 2023 menswear show.
Yes.
Basic. Then we have Miss Coyle Ray on the right, performing at her Rolling Loud 2023 performance. So which do we prefer? Koi as a basic or Koi as a baddie?
You know, as the crop top and jeans, it is a little basic, but I feel like I'm gonna be that girl that's like, early 2000s. It's a little bit of a serve, but yeah, it is
Mhm.
basic. Like I feel like I don't know, maybe this is just the showgirl coming out, but just having a little bit more zhuzh to it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. I personally prefer Koi basic. I feel like it's very much who she is
Uh
in her
huh.
like best and most comfortable element. That look on the left, like that's her. I don't get me wrong. I do like her when she dresses up and gets dolled up in her, her baddie looks. But I feel like her essence is that basic
But
look.
not everyone can pull off that like sex appeal in
Oh
the
yeah.
grungy, like you know what I mean? It's a certain type of the performer that can do that.
100%.
Yeah, I agree. I agree absolutely. I mean, she's given like I run this town, what's up? Like,
Ah,
Yes.
show day. Yes.
right.
Ooh, let's see who's next. Okay, so we got SZA. We got SZA on her SOS tour. So she's doing the baggy sweatshirt, the kind of loose fitting pants. Then we've got SZA at the Grammys, snatched. Basic or baddie?
I like the baddie look.
Me too.
I like it because it shows her essence of, just being that curvaceous woman, but it's sexy, it's very grown, and it's not like trashy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a sense of elegance with that hint of like sexuality in there. And I love that the hair can carry both outfits.
Oh yes,
You
that
know what I mean?
part.
I love a person who can do that with their hair and just their hair is their staple, so everything else goes around it.
I definitely agree with that. What about you, Vila?
Absolutely. I don't know. The one on the left side, like I love you, sister, Scorpio sister, but the left side, I'm not rocking with it, girl. I don't know. This is not hitting for me. But the right side, SZA Grammys, yes, hands down, that's gonna be the winner for me.
Yeah. On to my girl Aaliyah, RIP, love her
Oh
forever.
Oh, right
gosh.
there.
Got her rocking the classic Tommy Hilfiger on the left. And then we have her rocking her look at the MTV VMAs on the right. Which side of Aaliyah do you prefer? Basic or baddie?
The look I prefer is not on here, but if I had to say, her Queen of the Damned look all the
Oh,
way.
yes.
I'm
Oh,
sorry. That's gonna have to be in the sci-fi horror fiction genre. I mean, we
Oh, yeah.
love Aaliyah, honestly, and this is from our generation, so we know better than these children out here.
Mhm.
Um, that Aaliyah has been one of those few people that can go from one or the other, has gone from one and the other,
Yeah.
and is able to pull it off with such style, grace, and just like it was so bad when she did the streetwear, it was ah. And then when
It
she
was so
dressed it up,
sexy.
she
Yeah.
became that essence of I am a woman
Yeah.
and I am very, taking ownership of it.
Oh, R.I.P. Aaliyah.
Yes, R.I.P. girl. What about you, Karma? Give us.
What about Aaliyah? That's my girl. She's the only one to me that can rock either one and it'll still be hot.
Mm-hmm.
Whether she's rocking her basic, like that's hot to me. When she was rocking the crop tops and the baggy jackets and the baggy pants, like I was out of the stores trying to find me some baggier pants, trying to
Right.
get the boys
We
underwear
all
so I
were.
can have my brief rim showing. Like
Right.
she she made it cool to be a tomboy, and I was a big tomboy growing up, so she made it
You know
cool.
what I also loved about Aaliyah was that when she did the street clothing, like the real urban side of things, it was always clean. It was
Mm-hmm.
never like dirty or dingy. Like, some girls can pull
Yep.
that off, but it was always clean.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, not a hem out of place.
Mm-hmm.
Even if things were baggy, they were falling on the right shoulder. She just
Yep.
kind of, she definitely wore the clothes, not the other way around.
And
Exactly.
just what you said about SZA too, about the hair, like the hair carried through every outfit.
And look, it can be dressed up and it could
Yep.
be what she gives.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Baddie on both sides for me.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
no basic here, like where?
No, no, not at all.
RuPaul. First of all, there is no basic outfit I
I
will
was
ever
gonna
find
say,
RuPaul wearing. This is the most basic I will find RuPaul, and that
Like
was at the
ever.
Met Gala 2019.
Yeah.
yeah, she don't do basic. Mama
At
Ru is
all,
not
at
a basic
all.
woman. Um,
Um,
honestly, she's always serving glamour, and that's the thing. If people aren't too familiar with the show, is that a lot of this stuff, a lot of the fashion, the trends, the dialogue, the lingo. When we say certain things, when we're saying, you got to serve. That doesn't mean, oh, let me get up and drag every day of my life, or let me
yeah,
always put on a lash, or let me, what that comes from within, and that's the great thing that RuPaul is teaching the masses that you can be feminine, you can be masculine, you
yeah,
can be whatever you want, but you serve it 100%. You serve your best self. So
yeah.
I think
Committed.
that's constantly what Ru does. So it's always a baddie look for Rue.
V, do you agree?
Period. Okay. And
Okay.
period. Oh my God. Hello. Like,
Also, I want him to call me at my 9 to 5 so I can quit. So I'm trying to Rue,
RuPaul,
go
you
ahead, all
heard.
girl. See
yes.
me.
Yes. Shout out to you, RuPaul. Like, oh my goodness. Vanity Jones is it. If you ain't
Yes,
know
please.
already, hello. Like,
Stop playing.
look,
You heard it first.
Just
I
saying.
am.
Auntie Megan the Stallion, she's had such a style evolution too. So like that's her performing on tour on the left, and then this is more recently at the Oscars after party.
I love
How
that
do we like
hair.
our Megan? Basic or baddie?
I'd say baddie. I like the baddie look. I love the dressed up Megan. Like, there's nothing wrong with because she's another one. And I think a lot of the female rappers are starting to, or they've been for a while,
Hmm.
um, or always for that matter, have been like, when they do like the same thing with Aaliyah, when they do like the street, the hood, it's always a clean look. It's
Yeah,
never just like in the street dirty. It's
yeah,
always like it. And now I think with the new girls, Cardi and all them, it's starting to become conceptual. It's starting to meet high fashion like this. Like high fashion and rap has
mm-hmm.
always been like a thing, but I think it's starting to come back to that again. Because I mean, when the late '90s, early 2000s was a Versace, and
Hmm.
everyone was wearing it. You know what I mean? And I mean, we were kind of going down this rabbit hole that one night with Vila's like. Then they had like the whole like Asian wave, and everything was like
Yeah,
silk and
Yeah.
everything. So I love to see when girls can switch it up. Um, but I always love seeing women glammed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in full agreement. Megan, Baddie Megan is my favorite way of seeing Megan. And like I said, she's evolved. Her style has evolved so much since she first came out. And I
Mhm.
think she's finally reaching like I don't know, maybe it's like her personal and career are finally in alignment
Yeah.
because I feel like when she was first blowing up like she had just lost her mom too. So it's like you can't even enjoy it or celebrate the success, but I feel like she's finally transitioning where like things are going a lot smoother for her life and then things are still going great for her career. So it's like a nice alignment.
Oh
Yes.
yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Megan, Oscar Megan is definitely my fave. Especially that hair. I'm like, girl,
Oh
yes, you gave
yes.
me some life with that hair. I just want to do one of these with that.
She's giving me Donna
Right.
Summer.
Like,
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm living for it. And let's see who we got next. Billie Eilish. So Billie Eilish is usually very tomboyish too. Like
Yeah.
if you go to the left, oops, on the left we have her at the Swarm premiere, and then on the right, completely glammed up for the Met Gala.
Um, I like seeing her done up. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
baddie. I'm about because it also is non-conventional. Like you
yeah,
don't see it's not like a ball gown and it's not stoned out. It's literally all black chiffon. And it's see-through, so
yeah.
that's kind of like another thing. It could be risky fashionably to make it look more high fashion than trashy, you know what I mean? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when she is done up, it's nice to see. It's nice to see because I feel like it's actually kind of cool to see a lot of these artists that do one over the other, or they start out one way and then they're
Yeah,
like a little bit they're heading towards like glamour in like their peak. So
yeah.
it's always really cool to see that and see the comparisons, but baddie mode for me.
And it's not too far off. It's giving goth glam. Like I
Hmm.
I love it. If she's gonna kind of go that route, like this is the perfect look.
Yeah.
What do you think, we?
yes, you know I'm gonna go to the goth girl. Like that's in me too. But yo, I don't know, something about that look on the left is creeping me the fuck out because I seen that Warm show and I was like, damn girl, like it was a whole cult situation. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
throw me off. So I just gotta focus
Getting
on
cult vibes on the left.
yeah.
Not
It,
that.
I need to focus on the other side. Woo.
Oh, that's too funny. All right, so Batty Billy.
Baddie Billy, that's what it is.
Now we have MJ Rodriguez, star of Pose. Have her. This is the most basic outfit I could find, which was her at the Rent Off Broadway performance. And then on the right at the Golden Globe, this is like my absolute favorite look
Yes.
for her,
Oh,
which was at the Golden
absolutely.
Globes. Like,
Go Golden Globes for sure. That shade of blue is everything on that skin.
yes, yes. We
And
talked about this.
honestly, I love her the silhouette because there's very few. I think there's a certain body type you can really pull off that like really ruffled kind of almost looks like it's a loose bow or kind of thrown together, like hanging off the shoulder. Like, I think that there's something very classy, but yet a little submissive, if you will, but still kind of glamorous.
Oh yeah, she is the gift, honey.
Yeah.
Okay. Hands down, we had featured this look in one of our episodes, well, the Golden Globe episode. And I am still in love with this look to this day. I wish I could feel that fabric and wear the outfit
Oh
myself. Oh
yes.
my God.
Like I said, MJ hardly wears basic outfits. Like it was very hard to find something basic for MJ. Like MJ hits the red carpet and slays every
Mhm.
time.
Yes.
And Billy Porter. Billy Porter. So I have his a basic look, him posing for Glamour magazine on the left, and then his fabulous look for Cinderella. Do we prefer Billy toned down, more basic, or baddie?
Give me dress that Billy.
You said what?
I said, give me dress that Billy Porter. Give me Batty Billy. Another Batty Billy.
Want all the bells and the whistles.
Yeah.
Yes, because with that comes that amazing like essence,
Yeah.
you know, that they also have, just in their regular selves, but like
Yeah.
when they are glammed up, it's an elevated energy that is so graceful, will be very direct but have class with it,
Mm-hmm.
isn't intimidating, is warm and welcoming. A lot of the times you're either one or the other.
Yeah.
But with Billy, I feel like that energy is just only heightened when they are done up. So Batty.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait till he releases a collection. Like when?
Okay.
Oh,
When?
imagine.
Oh,
When?
and then give us tickets. Give us tickets to that show.
Right.
Okay.
Out to you, Billy Porter.
Yes. Yes.
I'll
I'm
be taking
saving.
all the pictures to be making those outfits.
Okay. The seamstresses are here. Hi, we're at your service.
I learned how to use a serger now. Don't get me started.
Hey,
Okay.
I'm telling you, if the first time you do it and you get it, it's a piece of cake. It
Oh
seems
yeah.
intimidating at first, but yeah, like after that, you're like, oh, bitch, I got
Oh,
this.
it was great. It was great. And I was like, I was gonna text Vila and be like, okay, so because one of the threads had came out, it was the farthest one to the right. It was done. So I had to put my own spools on there. And I said, now I can't call her and ask her for help because I told her when I see her again, I'm going to know how to thread this machine. And I'm going to be lying if I call her and say, hey, so I didn't watch a YouTube video, but I need you to come back to my house and show me where this diagram went wrong. But no, I got it. It was fairly easy and it made the sewing experience a lot more fun.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so proud of you. Like you,
Thank
I mean,
you. No,
you
thank you.
know,
I would be sitting there collecting dust still.
We
yeah,
just want to thank you, Vanity, for your time today and just being able to be so open with us, sharing your journey, sharing your experiences, the things that you've been through, and just your whole evolution is very much inspiring. And like you were talking about your legacy, leaving that legacy behind of kindness and how you treat people and people remembering and having those positive memories about how you influence them. I think it's so important. We love you here at What's the Word Have You Heard podcast. We hope you'll definitely come back on the show. Keep
yes,
us in the loop what you got going on, because your light is so important. It's so important, and
Oh,
we hope you
thank you
continue to
so
shine.
much. Well,
absolutely.
thank you so much for having me. It's been an amazing conversation to have, and your broadcast is. Went back and watched a few episodes after you guys have asked me to be on it. So, I think what you guys do and to spread the word of beautiful Black culture is just like we need more of it. Give us more. Give us
Mhm.
more of the fashion. Give us more and give us more to be inspired by. So it's definitely, and I know young girls everywhere are going to be so inspired by you. So thank you so much for having me on your platform. It's been an amazing time.
Oh, Vanity, we appreciate you.
Yes, we appreciate you. Much love, and can't wait for you to come back again and bless us with your amazing presence.
Uh,
Man, so wonderful. So I feel full right now. Like I was just fed. Like I
Yes.
all up.
But that's a wrap, folks, for this episode of What's the Word Have You Heard? As always, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe our IG and TikTok at HYH underscore podcast. And where else can they see us, Vila?
You can also see us on YouTube. Of course, follow the channel. Why are you not following the channel? Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello. What's up? Hello, what's going on? like yesterday. Yeah, stay tuned on YouTube. You can also, if you would like to contribute to our services, you can also donate on
Yes.
Spotify now. That is available if you want to just show some love, or if you want to comment, talk about our guests, such as the beautiful Vanity Jones.
Vanity Jones.
Yeah, yes, and where you can see her amazing shows. Then just give us a chat. Shoot the question in the bar. You know what it is.
Oh, and before we go, we are looking way too fabulous to not show off our looks right now. So sorry, one at a time. Vanity, go first, please. Show us what you're wearing. Tell us if there's
Well,
any particular brands you want to shout out.
so this is something that I made. I'll only show you about there because that's
Ooh.
only Vanity from here up right now.
I got you,
It's uh
darling.
it's Naruto shorts underneath all of this. No, but I have on one of my jumpsuits, a little bit of a signature. I think it's one of the last things I made that I'm like, this is gonna happen in every fabric. So did a long
Mm-hmm.
little puff sleeve. I did some paneling work here with some of the Versace. This is one of believe it or not, a newer color that I'm used to wearing that I decided to wear for the podcast because it just does something to my skin,
It's
and
so
I love it.
beautiful. And I like are these flowers?
Yes, they're little
Absolutely gorgeous.
jasmine flowers, which are the national flower of the Philippines. And I have
Mm.
Wow.
my little sun and stars ear
Oh,
cuff to represent.
yes.
Oh, I love
Um,
that ear cuff.
yeah, and also, like I said, it's hot. I needed my hair up, and this is actually one of my favorite styles to do.
It's absolutely beautiful. And yes, that color definitely complements your skin tone, honey. Love it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, indeedy. What about you, Vila?
Oh, you know, you're the girl wearing a little bit of Vila funk up in here. I created
Okay.
this neck piece choker. And these earrings are, of course, my favorite little low down dirty shame chic.
Ah,
And the hat here is definitely from a good friend of mine, Bria. She has a hat collection where she has multiple different colors. I will put in the description where you can get it, but she's
Yes,
the
please.
designer of this hat, and the shirt is from Shein too. I'm just
Listen, it's
showing out.
giving Bruce Glenn.
ah,
Soon as I saw you, I was like, Bruce Glenn vibes. I love all the
right.
colors.
Thank you.
Vila said, "Meet me at the farmers market." How about that?
Hey,
Okay.
Organic. Period.
right. But what about you, Karma Custom? Oh my goodness, I'm in love with this
Okay.
neck piece.
I am wearing some of the jewelry that I shared with our viewers for the flea market finds post on IG and TikTok. This is a full on collar necklace. Got
Yeah.
my cute little brooch I found as well. I could not wait to show off this beauty. Just clipped it to my little pink slip dress. I'm feeling kind of Barbie this month. In my all pink. And I do want to show these off as well. These face earrings. I don't know if you guys can
Ooh,
see these. Maybe this one.
ooh,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
so
So
pretty.
these are one of one as well. And I found those as well at the flea market. God, I love a good deal.
Yes.
Oh yes, I
I
love
love
that.
it. I love the color.
Oh, this is everything. I got this
So,
one in this color and in navy blue, and I cannot wait to wear them.
oh my gosh. I
So
love
But
it.
as always, guys, comment, like, subscribe. Let us know, what do you think of our looks? What do you think of this episode? We definitely want to hear back from you and the viewers. And we thank you guys so much for joining us once again for What's the Word Have You Heard? Until next time,
bye.
peace.